So there's a lot of ways to do this, and I can't decide for you. Depends on how present you want to be. A,
Right.
you can put your stop loss here, okay, and let this play out however you want to, right? So
Okay.
stop loss, let it play out saying, hey, I trust the analysis that made you take this as a sell, whatever that was. I don't personally think
Right.
it's ready yet for a sell, but you have that option to say, I'm going to put it very tight in terms of the body of this candle, no room. Option number one, and then let it play out. Option number two, give it the body of this candle, so the high plus a cushion, okay? And to say, hey, I trust this analysis for whatever reason that I wanted to sell it for. I'd like to see this play out. I'm risking X percent at that stop loss. I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna let it play out. That's option number two. Option number three,
Gotcha.
you're at break even ish or slightly in profit. You can close or protect it, like literally protecting them like 1 or 2 pips, I guess, or however many pips this is, because there's really not a lot of room here. There's like 10 pips, right? 10, 12 pips in between where we're sitting and the body of that close or somewhere around where you entered. So you can protect the 2 or 3, meaning if it does pull up, you're not going to lose anything. You're going to get a small profit, and then put a pending, right? Or an alert in this area. So you have that as an option. Okay. And that's not a bad idea either. So depending on how present you want to be. So if you want to put the alert and say, hey, I'm going to put my chilling stop on. If I'm right, it's going to keep going down. If I'm wrong, I'm going to get my baby profit and then I don't have to lose anything. And worst case, if it does spike up and I want a better entry, I can put my sell limit, right? I had to think. I don't use limits too often, but my sell limit in that area, or I can even put an alert in that area to say, hey, when price comes at this level, I'll take it. And I shoot another option. You got another one. You can do a kind of the straddle concept, which is as we break below this candle, I can put an alert or a sell stop order and say, cool, I'm going to protect this one right here. I don't like how it's playing out. I don't necessarily want to close it willy nilly. I don't necessarily want it to go against me. So I'm going to put my tight trailing stop and just take the baby amount I get, because odds are you're going to get knocked out pretty quick. Just the spread on this is, 2 to 4 pips on most brokers. So especially in US session. So with that in mind, cool, I'm going to take this. I'm going to put a sell stop or an alert here. I'm going to put a sell limit or an alert here. And I'm going to revisit this when and if. So any of those are fine. I think it has potential. I wouldn't be in this for a long-term sell just yet, though.
I think part of
Okay.
your
10-4. Thank you, man.
You are
part of
welcome.
your equation also should be whether or not you took an appropriate lot size with a planned trade.
But hence the reason I said I know what I'm risking. So it's easy to say I'm going to put my stop loss here. So Scott brings up an enormously good point, and I did mention, hey, I know what my risk is. It's really easy to use the words, I'm going to put my stop loss here. But if you did not take an appropriate lot size and you're going to put your stop loss here, or option whatever 2 or 3 that was, and give it room, and that's outsized risk that you can't afford, that's a great point.
Because you take a stupid lot size, if you have an opportunity to get out at break even or a slight profit, by God, do it. And then you can right size your trade, even if you believe in the analysis. But if you have an appropriate lot size and you made a trade for a good reason and you believe in that analysis, or if your initial analysis was valid, then you roll the dice and you take your chances.
I think that's a good discussion. Something I haven't mentioned too much is even I am trading a little different. Scott said he hasn't seen a market where it's this jumbled or the news is this conflicting. I'm going to use, is that a good way to?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I agree. Now, I'm not a news person. Y'all know that. I'm definitely a technical analysis person, but I don't have near as many years of experience as some of you guys. I know that, but I haven't traded in a market that is this unpredictable either. And I'm just going to stick with the unpredictable. The way some of the pairs and the indices and metals are moving, contradictory to the news, contradictory toward technical analysis. They're just constantly a little floofy, to use my words. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So even myself, I cut down on some of the risk that I was taking. I haven't done a huge amount of compounding in terms of like the grow it or blow it stuff, cut down on some of the risk on some of the accounts that I'm using. So I'm still profitable and I'm still doing great. I'm not risking as much just because the ebb and flow of the market's a little different, right? And then even on my EAs, I've started making conscious different decisions. So for example, EURCAD ended up playing out just perfectly. It played out just fine, but I was heavily laid into that pair on an algorithm, right? And as I got close to break even, not profit, so I was like, I don't know, 10, 12 pips in total away from EURCAD's break even point. And by the way, I freaking love that feature, Scott, on Swiss Army Knife where it shows you where your break even is at.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. But anyways, as I got really close to the break even point, I took the oldest trades and I just started scaling out of the bottom 3 or 4 of them. I just scaled out of them. So my net up for that day is still like 1% or something. It's not, astronomically great or anything. I'm still up probably less than 1% because of how much I closed out. And again, this one happened to work out just fine because of what happened this morning. But hell, let's go to EuroCAD because that'll be much better discussion if it was in front of me versus me waving my magic mouse around. So my break even point was literally just below this fractal. So you see, we came into this once, came into it again. So when I came here, instead of letting this just go and go and go, and the max drawdown I had experienced in that, I think was a total of 2.5, 3%. Still higher than I want to experience on a single pair, though, for the kind of algorithm that I'm running, right? Don't want to experience that high of on any single pair without it being some nuclear reason. This wasn't a nuclear enough reason to justify going into 5% drawdown on a single pair. So when I got into this area, notice I'm still not in profit. My break even was below this point. That's why it never even activated. So here I'm 10, 11, 12-ish pips away, according to Swiss Army Knife. Granted that fluctuates. As I'm in this area, I just took the bottom 3 and I scaled out of 50% of all 3 of those positions. Notice how it worked out just fine. And I probably would have made 5 or 6% gain on that particular pair had I not done that. But I still got enough of a gain on that. And who cares, break even? Because if I look at this from a bigger time frame, okay, that's a beautiful daily double bottom. We've just kissed the weekly 50, right? Nice engulfing candle. We've already retested. This could just have easily have went up many more levels, which would have caused this pair to go in more drawdown than it needed to. So I am trading a little different because of the market is a little bit different. So that's why my advice to you on GN, back to GN, make your decision consciously. And I think what Scott said about how much you're risking is significant. Because if your lot size is bigger than you want it to be, take your baby profits and then make a new decision when it sets up. If it's really small, then you have more options. So thanks for saying that you're adjusting your management due to the current market. I was considering making changes yesterday. This is my confirmation. We'll take my pips and run. There you go. And not to say that I don't necessarily, you guys know I try to be the least hands off possible. I try to trust my trade management because if I don't, I have nothing trackable, nothing duplicatable. I try to trust my EA because if I don't, I have nothing duplicatable. Then if it only works when I'm present, then I can't promise it's not going to work when I'm not present. So I'm really big on the whole, keep your grubbies off. But it is a slightly different market. So be a little bit more cautious. Not so much that you're being foolish, but a little more cautious, I think, is a good plan. We've also got an election year coming and all kinds of other stuff looming above us.